Smelling good is easy. It just requires a little bit of money. And if you are ready to make these purchases, here are the best colognes that'll make you smell good. As I truly think that you need to start looking into niche fragrances. So you should be ready to spend $200 to $400. That is a complete lie. I am going to be going over the cheapest options all the way to the most expensive ones. And the first one is going to be Scentbird, because for $16, you can get sample packs of those colognes that do cost $200, $300, even $400. I tried Scentbird out for the first time when I was 16, and this is when I truly started to appreciate better fragrances. I realized I smell incredible. And yes, by technicality, Scentbird is a little bit more expensive just because it costs more per spray rather than buying full bottles. The reason why I like Scentbird so much is because when I was 16, I didn't have $100 to spend on a cologne, but I did have about 20 bucks to buy on a sample pack. It's gonna last at minimum a month, and depending on how much you use it, it's gonna last a little bit longer. So Scentbird is definitely a good place to start. It was how I started getting into colognes, and I think it was a great choice because I was trying very expensive colognes that was making me smell better than all my friends. And so look, speaking of which, I decided I wanted to try a new fragrance using Scentbird. Just a reminder, this video is not sponsored, but I figured since I was talking about them, I wanted to show you exactly what you can get. So I ended up choosing a fragrance that costed about 300 bucks, and I got this for less than 10. And that's because I have about 20 different emails. So those new customer bonuses, I can get pretty much anytime I want. Just to show you where it sprays from, because I spent 5 minutes trying to figure this out, there's now an unlock and lock feature, which is pretty cool. Dude, that smells so good. Every time I get Scentbird, I really want to buy a full bottle, but keep in mind, this is about $300. Crazy expensive for a fragrance, but nonetheless, if you want to really start leveling it up and not spend a crazy amount of money up front, this is a good place to start. So like I said, we're going to work our way up the price ladder. So the next fragrance is going to be alt fragrances. Like I said, I really like niche colognes, but for a $300 price tag, you can get a lot of bottles from alt fragrance. If you never heard about them, these are clone colognes. That's kind of hard to say. They're essentially inspired by these big name expensive bottles of colognes. Some of them are even one-of-one replicas of Tom Ford, Creed, even Parfums de Marly, which all have insane price tags. And they are very fair priced, especially considering how big the bottles are. They're gonna last you a very long time. Now, if you're wondering what's the difference between alt fragrances and the big name brands, they're definitely not gonna last as long. And even though they smell very similar, they're not gonna project nearly as good as the other ones. But like I said, for the price, it's really hard to complain about that. So these start off at around $30. I'm gonna be leaving links to some of my favorites. Next is Perry Ellis Midnight. I think Perry Ellis colognes are the most underrated and underloved fragrances that you could purchase for only $35. One of my most complimented fragrances in my collection is Perry Ellis Midnight. This one is perfectly sweet. It's good for romantic settings. Weighing in the factor of price, this is one of the best colognes that you could pick up. Now, I have no idea why everybody loves to sleep on Perry Ellis, but it's definitely worth trying out. The only issue, it's very hard to find if you want to go in store and smell it for yourself. But for $35, I guess if you don't like it, you could always send it back. But from my experience, I blind bought this one. When it came in, fell head over heels in, and to this day, it's one of my favorite colognes. The next one is Coach Open Road. This is a great option for the current weather. The spring and summertime, you want something light, subtle, and very refreshing. And I think Coach Open Road is exactly that. It's very subtle, which honestly means that you could be more generous with the amount of sprays. I've always loved Coach fragrances, and truthfully, Open Road is my favorite one out of all of them. And depending on where you get this one from, you can get it for as low as $37, which I really considered gatekeeping because I bought this one for about 80 bucks. Now let's talk about Mont Blanc Legend Spirits. This is a good mix of sweet and citrus notes, which means it is extremely versatile. You can wear it to casual settings or on dates whenever you go out. I think this is in my top 5 most complimented colognes in my entire collection, and I think it's for good reason. Everybody seems to love it. There's not a single person that doesn't like this one, because some colognes are definitely hit or miss. Some people like them, some people don't. But when it comes to Legend Spirit, I've never heard anybody say that they don't like it, especially for the price. Again, depending on where you get this one from, you can get it for as low as $45, so it's very worth checking out. Now, after recording this video, I actually picked up another fragrance that is brand new to me, never heard before, so I thought it was worth sharing. And that is Dior Eau Sauvage Eau de Toilette. These are citrus and floral notes, which means it is perfect for the summer. So this is the one that I'm going to be wearing a ton of. Like I said, it's brand new to me. And so if you want an underrated fragrance that I feel like nobody else is wearing, this is the perfect option. Now let's talk about Dolce & Gabbana K. Now when it comes to Dolce & Gabbana, the most overplayed fragrance I think in colognes in general is Dolce & Gabbana Light Blue. Growing up, especially during high school, there's not a single person who did not own this fragrance. And as much as I like to say that it is hard to overplay a fragrance, this one was overplayed. I truly think that this became the standard smell for guys. So as soon as I ran out of that bottle, never got it again. But one that I picked up was Dolce & Gabbana K. This one's light, subtle, and is a good switch and pace from light blue. This one you could pick up for $60, and hands down is one of my best fragrances. And now let's talk about Hugo Boss The Scent, because this one is easily in the top 3 of my favorite colognes. Everybody that I put on this cologne always has a story about them wearing it and getting compliments from girls or just people around them being impressed because they smell so good. So this is definitely one of the best fragrances that you could purchase to make yourself smell incredible. Now granted, I feel like this one leans a little bit more towards the fall, but by no means is it musky, so you could definitely wear it in the warmer weather. In my personal opinion, I would wear it at nighttime when it comes to summer. You want to be different from everybody else who's wearing aquatic scents. This is the one to do so. I guarantee you, if you haven't tried it out for yourself, you are going to fall head over heels with this one. And if I'm not mistaken, I bought this one for around $80. And this next one is pretty much tied with some of my favorite fragrances, and that is YSL Parfum. I think most days out of the year, I'm probably gonna say that this one is my favorite fragrance. It is more popular, but I think YSL has to be one of the best cologne makers for the price. This one you're gonna find for around $100, but this one lasts so much longer than most colognes in my collection. It smells incredible, always gets compliments. It's overall the perfect cologne that you could pick up and have everybody love the way that you smell. Now it is slightly heavier than the rest, so if you're watching this video in the fall or winter, that one's an easy recommend. But since it's the warmer weather, maybe hold off, but definitely keep it in your mind in case you're gonna go pick up some new fragrances. Speaking of which, one that I really want to pick up that I haven't is one from YSL, and that is YSL Myself. I've already smelled this one in person. It smells incredible. I definitely need a bottle of this one. It's pretty easy for me to say that you should go buy these because I've already smelled them. And if you trust my word, by all means, you could order these right now. But a pretty big recommendation that I have is trying to go to Macy's or any department stores, smell it for yourself to make sure that you are really going to love these bottles. And for example, if you smell this next one, you would probably fall in love with it, which is Burberry Hero. Again, a little bit more musky, but it's still pretty light. I probably wear this one more towards the fall, but I have gotten a ton of compliments with this one, and therefore it's one of my favorite ones. You could pick it up for around $110. The only issue that I have with this one, it just does not last very long, but I still think it's perfect for a good evening out. If you're only gonna be out for a few hours and you want to smell incredible, this is the one to do so. And hands down, my best cologne is Haute by Parfums de Marly. This is my only niche fragrance. Granted, it's insanely expensive, but it lasts forever. In fact, I sprayed this one, stayed out for a full weekend. I know it's kind of gross, but I didn't shower. But I still smelled incredible because it never faded away. It obviously wasn't as strong as when I first sprayed it, but I smelled my wrist after 2 days, and I really thought, man, I smell amazing. So I'm really excited to go down the rabbit hole of more niche fragrances. I really want to buy more from Parfums de Marly, but it is a huge investment. It's expensive, but sometimes it could be worth the money. That is only if you are into fragrances. If you don't really care about them, then by all means, get the cheapest one available. In fact, you could probably find an inspired version from all fragrances. Like I said, it's not going to last as long, but if you are a fragrance head, then sometimes it's worth investing a little bit more money if you have it, which is exactly what I plan to do slowly and surely. But if you want the full guide on how to smell good as fuck, here's a video that's going to show you exactly that.